It's easy to think that modern jobs are strange, complicated, or unusual, but if we travel back in time and look at some of the jobs people actually had in old America, we might be surprised at just how bizarre they sound today. Many of these professions were once completely normal and even necessary parts of everyday life. Before technology, automation, and modern infrastructure transformed the workforce, people had to perform tasks that now seem almost unbelievable. Some of these jobs existed because society needed them. Others were born from strange traditions, and a few simply filled gaps in daily life that we no longer experience today. What's fascinating is that although these jobs might sound fake or like something from a comedy movie, they were very real, and thousands of people made a living doing them. Let's dive into 20 old American jobs that sound completely made up, but were absolutely real. One of the most unusual old jobs was the knocker-upper. Before alarm clocks became common household items, many workers needed someone to wake them up early in the morning so they could make it to factories on time. That's where the knocker-upper came in. This person would walk through neighborhoods before sunrise, carrying a long stick, baton, or sometimes even a pea shooter. They would tap on windows or shoot dried peas at bedroom windows until the sleeping person woke up. Imagine paying someone just to stand outside your house and wake you up every day. Yet in the late 1800s and early 1900s, this was a reliable job in many industrial towns. Another strange profession was the ice cutter. Before refrigerators existed, keeping food cold required blocks of natural ice. During winter, workers would go out onto frozen lakes and rivers and cut large blocks of ice using saws and special tools. These heavy blocks were then transported to ice houses and stored with insulation so they could be sold throughout the warmer months. It was dangerous work because the workers had to stand on slippery frozen water while handling large, sharp tools, and one mistake could mean falling into icy water. Then there was the town crier, a job that sounds almost like something from a fantasy movie. In early American towns, news traveled slowly, and many people could not read. The town crier would stand in public squares, ringing a bell, and loudly announcing news, laws, and important updates to the community. Their booming voice was essentially the local news broadcast of the time. Another forgotten job was the switchboard operator. Before modern automated telephone systems, connecting phone calls required a real person. Mostly, women were hired to sit at large switchboards filled with cables and plugs. When someone made a phone call, the operator would manually connect the caller to the correct line by inserting cables into the board. It required concentration, speed, and good communication skills because hundreds of calls could come through in a single shift. One job that sounds almost unbelievable today was the human alarm clock, which is similar to the knocker-upper but sometimes even more personal. These workers were hired by factories or individuals to go door to door waking people up. In some cases, they even made sure the person actually got out of bed before moving on. The rat catcher was another real job that might make people cringe today. In crowded cities of the past, rats were everywhere and could spread disease. Rat catchers were hired to trap, poison, and remove rats from neighborhoods, businesses, and homes. Some of them became extremely skilled at tracking and eliminating infestations, and their work played a major role in keeping cities safe. One job that sounds completely bizarre was the leech collector. In the 1800s, leeches were widely used in medicine for bloodletting, which doctors believed could cure certain illnesses. Leeches had to be collected from swamps and ponds, so workers would wade into muddy water and allow the leeches to attach to their legs. Afterward, they would carefully remove them and store them in containers for doctors to use. It was uncomfortable, unpleasant, and risky work, but it was in high demand at the time. Another unusual profession was the milkman. Today it might sound normal, but the daily delivery system that milkmen provided was an essential part of life. Early in the morning, milkmen would drive horse-drawn carts or trucks, delivering fresh bottles of milk to homes. People would leave empty bottles outside their doors to be replaced with new ones. It was a simple but trusted job that connected farms to families. The chimney sweep was another job that was both necessary and dangerous. Houses that relied on fireplaces and coal heating produced large amounts of soot. Chimney sweeps would climb onto rooftops and clean out the chimneys to prevent dangerous fires and blockages. Many chimney sweeps were young boys because they could fit into the narrow spaces more easily. Another strange-sounding job was the bowling pin setter. Before bowling alleys used automatic machines to reset pins, workers, often teenagers, sat behind the lanes waiting for the ball to roll down. After every throw, they would run out quickly, pick up the fallen pins, and set them back in place. It required fast reflexes and patience, especially during busy bowling nights. Then there was the human computer. Long before electronic computers existed, businesses and government agencies hired people to perform complex mathematical calculations by hand. These human computers worked with pencils, paper, and slide rules to solve problems in engineering, science, and finance. Another odd profession was the log driver. In the logging industry, after trees were cut down, the logs were floated down rivers towards sawmills. Log drivers would jump from log to log, guiding them through the water and preventing jams. It was extremely dangerous because the logs could shift suddenly and trap a worker underwater. The lamplighter was another job that disappeared with modern technology. In the days before electric streetlights, cities used gas lamps to illuminate streets at night. Each evening, lamplighters would walk through the streets, lighting each lamp with a long pole or flame. In the morning, they returned to extinguish them. Another curious job was the factory listener. In cigar factories and other workplaces, employees performed repetitive tasks all day. To keep morale high and workers entertained, a listener would sit on a platform reading newspapers, books, or stories out loud while everyone worked. The railroad brakeman had a dangerous job as well. In early trains, braking systems were manual. Brakemen had to run across the tops of moving train cars to apply brakes individually when needed. This job required balance, courage, and quick reactions because trains moved fast, and the work was often done in harsh weather. Another strange profession was the daguerreotype photographer's assistant. Early photography required complicated equipment and long exposure times. Assistants helped hold equipment steady, prepare chemicals, and sometimes even help subjects stay perfectly still during photographs. The human scarecrow was also a real job in agricultural communities. Farmers hired people to stand in fields or move around occasionally to scare birds away from crops. Instead of a stuffed scarecrow, they used a real person. Then there was the water boy, a job common in construction sites, factories, and railroad crews. Before convenient bottled water and hydration systems, someone had to carry large containers of water to workers throughout the day. Another forgotten profession was the telegraph operator. Before telephones became widespread, telegraphs were the fastest way to send messages across long distances. Operators used Morse code to send and receive signals that represented letters and words. Finally, there was the professional mourner, a job that sounds almost unbelievable today. In some communities, families hired people to attend funerals and mourn loudly in order to show respect for the deceased. Their role was to express grief publicly and ensure the funeral appeared properly attended. Looking back at these jobs shows how dramatically society has changed. Many of these professions existed because technology hadn't yet provided easier solutions. Alarm clocks replaced knocker-uppers, refrigeration ended the need for ice cutters, electric lights replaced lamplighters, and machines took over tasks like bowling pin setting. Yet these jobs were once essential parts of daily life, and communities relied on the people who performed them. What might seem strange today was completely ordinary to people living in those times. These old jobs also remind us how creative and adaptable humans are. Whenever society faces a need, people find ways to fill it. As technology continues to advance, some of today's jobs might one day sound just as strange to future generations. Imagine someone in the future hearing about social media managers or content creators and thinking those jobs sound fake. History is full of fascinating stories like these, and exploring forgotten professions gives us a glimpse into the everyday lives of people from the past. It helps us appreciate how far society has come, while also reminding us that every generation has its own unique challenges and solutions. If you enjoyed learning about these strange but real jobs from history, make sure to like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, and leave a comment telling us which job surprised you the most. Your support helps us keep bringing more interesting and fascinating stories from history right here on this channel.